I would say we should go to Pensacola and go to the beach sometime. They got a real sick game out there at the dog track. It's so stupid.
We are live. Good morning, comrades. You are listening to WHLP New Orleans 102.3. This is your
It's
daily
poker talk. Welcome to poker talk.
talk. Wow.
Softest seats in the Gulf Coast region, the
This is
Gulf
not a
South.
gambling podcast. This is not
Is at the Pensacola
uh,
Greyhound track.
yeah.
Welcome to the 2+2 podcast.
Yeah.
If anybody knows what that was.
You ever used to read those 2+2 books?
I still do. No, I don't read the books. I read the forums because they're hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
They're just hilarious. Every post is just like how I got bad beat.
My worst hand ever where I lost like 10 grand.
It's like, yeah, and it's always some like I got sucked out on so hard. And it's like, and that's how I lost the mortgage money with Ace 6 offsuit.
Everybody's
what?
Everybody's Matt Damon from Rounders. Like everybody just wants to be him. Like
Bro, I just want to be Kanish.
Yeah.
My kids eat. I don't chase dreams of the World Series. I don't chase action or cards.
You want to be Teddy KGB.
No. Kanish is the best. It's just a pure grinder. Just
an old man
stacking it up.
Man.
So good.
Anyway, this is Good Morning Comrade. This is our weekly radio show edition, which you can watch you can listen to rather on the radio. WHIVLP New Orleans on at 8 o'clock Central Time, AM. And we got Jeff and Robert on the show. I'm feeling pretty chill and exhausted. What you been up to, buddy?
I don't know, man. Just trying to have as much fun as I can because it feels like the world's going to end.
Yeah.
Like, like this COVID thing's not going away. And the thing is, even if I'm being hyperbolic, like the world's not going to end because of COVID. Like this isn't. But the next thing that comes along, where it's going to be like super serious. Not COVID is not like murdering people in the street, but I'm saying the thing that's like kills people much worse and quicker than COVID. We're just going to let it roll over us, and then the world actually will end. Because we can't handle this. This is so easy. We have a vaccine. We should have locked down. We should all just be receiving checks from the government. And I just like, I had an argument. There's some guy at a poker table, and he was saying something about, I can't remember what it was. This was like last week. And he said, I see this guy all the time too. And he said, it's something about COVID. And I said, yeah, we didn't do what we were supposed to, we should have locked down. And we should have, we should all just be getting money from the government. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, lockdown like before didn't do any good. I go, exactly, my dude, because it was a half-step measure. Right. Things were still open. Like we should have all been locked down, getting money to pay our bills, and having meals dropped off to us by the National Guard. Like it should have been like you shouldn't have been allowed to be on the street. Like, and then if we would have done that for 2 months, this thing would be over. And he goes, this isn't China. This isn't China, like you can't do this. And I go, yeah, I guess. There's a lot of things here that China doesn't have, like COVID right now. Mm-hmm. Like in China, they're just like they're at like raves, fist pumping. Like I'm not one of these leftists that's like a China guy either. Like I'm not into China, but I'm like they stopped COVID. Vietnam stopped COVID. Like they did what they were supposed to do, and we're too stupid because. We say we have rugged individualism, and it's not rugged individualism. It's not rugged when you refuse to wear a mask or you refuse to get a shot that's tested to be effective. And I don't want to hear about how it's not FDA approved, because when it is FDA approved, the goalposts would just move again. And for whatever reason, these people won't get shots. It's just that they think, I don't know, they think that we don't live in a society and the rules don't apply to them, and somehow they're going to be okay. And they're going to find out it's not okay. I don't know.
Well, speaking of end of the world that you brought up, there was a brand new report that came out from the International Governmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC. And the news ain't great, if I'm TBH. It's a little bit terrifying, TBH. It's the world is warming. This is a headline from CNN. The world is warming faster than previously thought, scientists say, and the window is closing to avoid catastrophic outcomes. So we're in a bad spot there, Chief. It's not good.
Yeah, I mean that's why I talked about this on a little ranty live stream I had. It's like a lot of people I know are just kind of they haven't. I won't say given up is the wrong word, but their idea is just we have to try to protect as many people as possible when the whole world collapses in on itself. Mm-hmm. Like that's where they're at now. They're like, yeah, everything like the writing's on the wall, like everything's screwed. So what do we do to protect as many people as we possibly can?
Yeah. So the lead is from CNN. As the world battles historic droughts, landscape-altering wildfires, and deadly floods, a landmark report from global scientists says the window is rapidly closing to cut our reliance on fossil fuels and avoid catastrophic changes that would transform life as we know it. Like, it's just like literal, like Armageddon type talk, like coming from CNN. The State of the Science report from the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change says the world rapidly warmed 1.1 degrees Celsius higher than pre-industrial levels and is now careening towards 1.5 degrees, a critical threshold that world leaders agree warming should remain below to avoid worsening impacts. So it's like even like these people that are making like these world decisions like are like, yeah, this is bad. Shame we can't do anything about it. We can't change the structure of, we're boned, according to G Wolf. What's going on? But yeah, it's just like definitely feels at like we're just kind of like rolling down the minecart, down on the minecart, and there's no stopping. The brakes are off. It's just like not to be. I mean, I guess. Actually, no, it's appropriate to be doom pilled on this, right?
No, absolutely. It's I mean, yeah, I'm actually torn on this because I can't. On the one thing is, if people have heard me rant like about stuff like this, I can't control other people's actions at all. So all I can do is try to take care of myself and like other people. I'm not 100% sure even how to do that though. And the thing is like I kind of delve into and I delve into if you look at like preparedness people like kind of doomsday preppers, they're the first person to tell you like it doesn't even matter what the political ideology is. When you get down to it, every doomsday prepper like worth their salt like is really like, I'm going to be reasonable. I'm not trying to get you to buy like a bucket of goop or some kind of weird, like, it's not a scam. I'm just like, hey, this is how you live off the land. They might be the most right-wing reactionary person you've ever met, but they will tell you, like, if you have dreams of when things fall apart, that you're going to be on your own and be some kind of rugged individualist, like, think again. Like, you're going to have to be in a community, which is so hilarious to me because it's like they're literally advocating for communism and they're saying this is the only way to survive as a species. But if you drill them down on their political ideologies, they would say, no way. Like, I want my liberty. It's such a compartmentalization of thoughts and doublethink. It's so weird.
Bottom line, we have 0 years left to avoid dangerous climate change because it's here, said Michael Mann, lead author of the report. Unlike previous assessments, Monday's report concluded that it is, quote, unequivocal that humans have caused the climate crisis and confirms that, quote, widespread and rapid changes have already occurred, some of them irreversibly. So, like, not only are we boned, we're, like, permanently boned.
Right.
Like, there's no fixing how boned we are.
When is the first time that you have ever can you remember in your head that the first time you ever heard about global warming or anything like even as a kid?
it had to be probably like in the 90s. Like if I'm thinking about like the first time I thought about like heard about greenhouse gases, it
Right.
probably actually came from like Nickelodeon's like Big Help and stuff like that.
I absolutely remember in I was going to elementary school in Ohio, and I absolutely remember like being something about the ozone layer being depleted in our elementary school like science books. I 100% remember that, which I find kind of like surprising now when I think about. I wonder what that means. That's just anecdotal, but like I think about our the state of the American education system and how terrible it is. Like we've got Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, like passing bills to put McCarthy-esque language and oversight over public and secondary school education, to be like, oh, we have to teach American values and that communism is bad. And it's like, we did this before, like, and now we're doing it again. It's so, I just weep. This country's like, either two things are happening. Like, this country, and like we might not even survive. This might not even matter because the world just ends because of whatever COVID or whatever virus next is down the pipe, or we just boil ourselves to death on this rock known as Earth. But even if we survive all that, I feel like America as a country is either we're at like the last gasp, the last dying gasp of like a deflated, dying empire, and people, they're just flailing. Like these people are flailing before the inevitable happens and capitalism just collapses and a new, like, I don't want to say utopia, but a new world is born. We say that a lot. We've got a new world to build. We talk about DSA stuff and democratic socialism. Or this country's just reverting back into just going back in time, and there's no reverse from that. It's either going to get really, I feel like after our deaths, it's going to get really good here. Then we are like paving the way for people to like have it good, or it's just going to be really bad and it's going to be glad that we're dead.
Yeah.
Not survive it.
Even under the IPCC's most optimistic scenario, in which the world's emissions begin to drop sharply today and are reduced to net zero by 2050, so basically 29 years, global temperature will still peak above the 1.5 degree threshold before falling. In a statement, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called the report, quote, a code red for humanity.
Oh, no.
The 1.5 years threshold is perilously close.
It's been code red for like 50 years now, my dude.
I mean, the only way preventing exceeding this threshold is by urging stopping our efforts and pursuing the most ambitious path. So essentially, like, literally just destroying like all of the industry that exists worldwide and changing it. Like if we had done that tomorrow, then it would still, nothing could stop the 1.5 degree threshold. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, just to put that into terms, like if we do that right now this minute, we might save northern Louisiana and like maybe half of Florida.
At the bottom of Gulf of Mexico where I'm sitting.
Maybe half of Florida. I don't know. If we do it now. Like, yeah, it's just how are we gonna help people survive this? That's where we're at right now. But yeah, it would take the complete end of capitalism, which isn't gonna happen. You see how even Republican lawmakers now, like I'm looking at our Republican lawmakers, like our own Senator Cassidy, who's like, y'all better get the vax, and his own constituency is turning on him. It's because he knows that coronavirus, COVID, is a direct threat to capitalism, and you would even think too, like,
keep the checks flowing.
Yeah, you would even think that a lot of these oil companies have alternative fuels divisions that they're just ready to kind of, I don't want to say flip on a dime, but they're ready to like transfer over because they know this just can't last forever, and they got to make the next dollar. It's just
But they never do that though, because
well, it's not bad. It's you never make any kind of change. And human beings don't make change until they're at the end of their rope, till it's less comfortable to stay where you're at than to make the change. And it's still more comfortable to dig you know what I'm trying to say, to go into the Gulf of Mexico and drill, than it is to try to do a whole new infrastructure.
I mean, like all of the, for example, and this is not even going to handle like most of the problem, but like if we wanted to like change the cars in America to like all battery powered cars that are not done by fossil fuels, that could very easily be done. However, there's so many things standing in the way, like all of the car manufacturers would have to change their sort of like methods of manufacturing. That comes with costs, and that essentially means risk. They'd probably sell a zillion of those cars, but it's like way harder to do than to just keep doing what you're doing. Not to mention the fact that the fossil fuel use will go down. Harvest, like mining, those will go down. Those are industries that bring in billions of dollars, you know, and those companies aren't gonna do it. And like part of the problem with capitalism is a lot of the money that's wrapped up in this stuff too is held like by people like with multiple holdings, and it's controlled by a very small few oligarchs.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know. I'm kind of talking to myself here. Is when I say it's things, I say we. I really mean me. We have to get in touch with the people who are who are out in front of this and figure out what we're gonna do, because they're like, you're reading this report. There's no turning back from it. It's just like, how do we survive at this point?
Yeah. You're listening to WHIV LP New Orleans 102.3. This is Good Morning Comrade. World on fire.
So bad.
The world is on fire. From a scientific perspective, this is back to the report. Every degree, every part of a degree, every half of a degree matters in terms of limiting the impacts that we will see from climate change, said Cope Barrett, a former vice chair of the IPCC. So whatever level countries decide is what they're aiming for. There are benefits and there are consequences to choosing those limits. So like, if we set targets of like lowering our fossil fuel usage or carbon emissions that are way too low to actually like address this problem, and this happens all the time. Like countries will like set way easy targets, and they'll basically like meet them and declare victory when those targets are just like completely and utterly insufficient for like actually addressing the problem that they're purporting to do. It's just so like, it's so unclear, and the problem is so like not something that people see in front of their face all the time, I guess. Like that's part of why it's so pernicious, and it's sort of part of why COVID is really kind of, you know, messing with people as well, because you know, it's not like super lethal as far as like, you know, pandemics go, but like the fact that it spread so quickly is, you know, and that's sort of like the problem here, right?
No, absolutely.
Kind of like invisible.
No, that's 100% right. I've said that. If this was COVID is funky, because if it was like Ebola and it just burned through people, like we and it was like horrible, your brains are coming out of your nose, people would run away from that. Or even it was like that thing with like the monkeypox is going around, like if it was that, like if it made you look like cosmetically like terrifying, then people would take it a lot more serious. But the fact that it kills you, but it leaves you like to be the walking wounded long enough to spread it around, and that you just kind of go off into a hospital setting and die instead of just like, I don't know, like a horror movie, like again, like Ebola, it makes people be like, it's not real. It's not real, where it's obviously real. And I tell you something else. people that are getting COVID who are vaccinated, like that I know of, and we're like, oh, the symptoms are mild. I mean, I guess by COVID standards, they're not dying, so that's that's pretty mild. But people I know who are sick who have been vaccinated are with Delta now. They are down. Mm-hmm. They are not having a great time. I can tell you that. It's not the sniffles. It's more akin to like I had COVID before, and they're telling me, the way that they're explaining it is like the same stuff that I went through when I had COVID, just having absolutely no energy, not being able to, walk to the bathroom without feeling out of breath and lightheaded. Mm-hmm. So it's no fun. Like, so definitely mask up, I guess. I would love to. I mean, I would love to get a third right now if we could. I'm sure there's a way for me to like hustle and do that. What's that?
You ready to get topped off?
Yeah, because honestly, like I was vaccinated in January, and I mean that's a long time now. So I'm ready. I'm ready to get a third. I mean, I just think of like just all these vaccines just going to waste anyway. These people not getting them. Might as well just give me a third.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Back to the climate change article though.
Yeah.
David Ray, the director of the Edinburgh Climate Change Institute, and said world leaders, quote, must have the findings of this report seared into their minds at the November conference to take urgent action. This is not just another report. This is hell and high water writ large. This dude is like screaming from the rooftops that the planet is going to like be completely and utterly like destroyed, and like we know that like Joe Biden's going to be like, what we need to do? We need to do public-private partnerships.
Oh, absolutely. Let's ask. Yeah, he's going to be like, let's ask Shell Oil what they think that we should do.
Yeah, let's who could help us out the most with this problem is the people that caused it in the first place.
That's exactly right. I mean, look at again, like I know you want to keep it on here, but look how bad things have gotten to where private industry is saying that, the airline industry is saying like pretty much all the major airlines are like, you can't even work for us if you're not vaccinated.
Yeah,
like, they're stepping in and doing the thing that like the government should be doing, especially in a field that's like regulated, like by the government. Like the government definitely should be doing this. Like, but we have to wait. I have to wait for Delta Airlines to decide to do the right thing. So like it's not even a joke. Like
Delta Airlines, you say? Huh?
Yeah, exactly. It's not even a joke though. Like when I said, we'll have to ask Shell Oil what they think we should do. That's the way the Biden administration is going to play this if they give any attention to it at all. They're like, let's get a blue ribbon committee and get British Petroleum and Shell and Exxon and get them all in the same room and be like, well, what do you think we should? Man, come on.
But yeah,
I hate Joe Biden so much. I can't even stand it.
Well, you keep bringing up COVID, so I'm going to go to the other story that I have, which is really great because looks like according to Fox 8, I'm sorry, WDXU Channel 6, more than 3,000 Louisiana children have already tested positive for COVID.
Isn't that great?
Largely because schools are back in session. Guess where I was today? Guess where I was today?
I'm going to say back at school.
Yeah, today was the first day back at school with kids. Glad I hadn't read this before the first day back because I would have been very very terrified. So now I get to have that be, at least pushed off till tomorrow. So that's nice. That's nice.
It's so bad because you've got, again, I got in another stupid argument with an anti-vaxxer, and he was like, well, I was actually talking about you. I'm like, well, my buddy's a teacher and he has to go to work and he's afraid that he's going to pass on. He's been vaccinated, but he's afraid he's going to be asymptomatic and pass on COVID to kids who can't be vaxxed. That's why everybody has to be vaxxed because we live in a society. He's like, well, if masks work, you shouldn't have to worry about that. I'm like, you're the dumbest person I've ever met.
Yeah, you can do masks and the vaccine.
Oh my God. I'm like, you're right, my dude. I was like, because floss exists and toothbrushes, you should never go to a dentist.
Yeah.
Just because there's airbags, you should totally not wear your seatbelt.
Yeah.
That's completely reasonable. Completely reasonable. I was just like, this is what we're dealing with, and it makes me so sad how just America is the land of, if it's not directly happening to me, it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
It's because our biggest strength is we're Pax Americana. We have all this landmass and all these different cultures mixed together. And our biggest weakness is we're Pax Americana. We have all this landmass and all these cultures mixed together. So these people think they can like live in their segmented little communities, their little cul-de-sacs of the nation and their gated communities, and they think they can just be separated from everybody when there is no like that stupid human being that I'm having a fight with, that I had a fight with about, kids can't get vaxxed, so that's why everybody who can be vaxxed. Like, I am linked to him, and whatever he thinks about me, like, he is also tied to me. We rise and we fall together because we live in a society, Marty, and it's just they don't understand that. They do not understand that. They don't care. They think nothing applies to them.
Yeah, more than 3,000 Louisiana children tested positive for coronavirus in just a few days' time. Governor John Bel Edwards updated the state Friday. This is a couple of days old. In a news conference, according to Edwards, more than 6,000 Louisiana children now have COVID-19. Edwards said that this is the most positive cases in children seen since the pandemic began. It's affecting children of all ages, Edwards said. In just 4 days, another 3,439 children have tested positive in Louisiana. Edwards stressed that this is why children should be wearing masks. And I will say that most of them are wearing masks today. Actually, all of them are wearing masks. It's required by a state mandate. I did have to keep telling them to, fix it and put it over your nose a bunch of times. But, like, there's worse things that it could be.
Sure.
But, like, I have kids that are over 12 now. I have, like, 8th graders and 7th graders. So, like, I'm getting kids that are vaccinated, which that's good. And, like, I'm not shy about, like, if somebody tells me, hey, I got the vaccine. Yay, Timmy got the vaccine. Everybody should be like Timmy,
Right.
Yeah.
One of our mutual friends was talking about, I can't believe they're canceling Jazz Fest but not canceling the schools. And I said, it's, again, how many times y'all sick of hearing this? It's capitalism. Because if you cancel the schools, that throws a wrench in the workforce, because people have to, like, take care of these kids, and we can't have that. Like, things have to keep going.
And because they won't close the schools, and because they won't force people to go home from work and stay inside, for God's sake, because of all that, because we won't do that, that means we don't get to have Jazz Fest because
Absolutely.
of that.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's the people's fault who are, like, not actually solving this problem. I want there to be a Jazz Fest. Like, I mean, I haven't been to Jazz Fest in a long time. It's too expensive, but, like, I'm glad that people go and enjoy it and all this other stuff. But, like, the fact that you can very easily connect the fact that we haven't shut it down and kept it shut down, like, that's very easily attributable to the fact that we haven't done that. So as a result of that, we don't have Jazz Fest. So, I mean, what you gonna do about it? It's a policy decision more than anything.
When we could have just taken our lick and then locked down, and this, as a country, and this whole thing would have been over by now. It's so short-sighted. It's so very American, just doing half steps and half measures. And this is the same country that, like, I rant about this all the time. This is the same country that during World War II we had gasoline ration stamps and victory gardens. And now, these rugged individuals, these big tough guys and gals out there can't wear a mask and get a poke. You hear the low energy in my voice. It's just so frustrating. It's like, this is how the world ends. not with a bang, but a whimper.
Yeah, totally. You are listening to WHIV LP New Orleans 102.3. This is Good Morning Comrade, goodmorningcomrade.com. But yeah, it is a little bit depressing.
It's just so frustrating because it feels like, I say this to I say this to people at work. I think I ranted about it on a previous recording. It's that as a society, like as a dim sock, a socialist, a communist, whatever, like I understand we're all a collective unit, and I understand like we should be doing the right things to benefit society. And I want society to benefit from the things I do now, even after my death in perpetuity. I want like society to go forward and touch the stars and do great things. But in the most like cynical individualist manner, like where I really get upset about it is these people are screwing with my life again because they don't want to get vaxxed. Like I feel like I've done so much and I finally have my life like on track. Like I've done so much and I finally have the ability to like go out and do things and not have to like personally I put myself in a position not have to like constantly worry about money or like the future, and I can like go and enjoy life. And as soon as that happened, like it all just got taken away. And I know that's like people are dying and being intubated and stuff like that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like, even if you want to be selfish and look at it like nobody matters but me, like this is affecting you because other people won't do the right thing. It affects you even on the most selfish level.
Yeah, totally. Now, there was some good news that kind of came out recently. Oh wow! The president of American Federation of Teachers, my union, actually announced just yesterday that she thinks that all teachers should be vaccinated. Like it should be required, like mandatory vaccination. Which I mean, I would go further than that and say that like every person that sets foot in a school should be vaccinated.
Absolutely.
But like that's a good enough point, at least as a starting point.
No, I was just saying this the other day. Like, I have a flight to catch on Friday, and I was like, it would be great. I would pay $20 more if everybody had to show their vax status, and then the $20 went to like everybody getting a rapid COVID test before you got on the plane, and then we could all know we were all vaxxed and we all didn't have COVID, and we could just sit on the plane and drink rum and cokes and without a mask on. Wouldn't that be cool? But people will be like, "That's communism. That's socialism. That's totalitarianism. You can't do that."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, everybody needs. I'm for like. I don't know. You'd have to throw some real scenarios at me that are like draconian to be like, nah, I would about this virus thing. I mean, about this getting vaccinated thing. You'd have to throw. I don't know. You'd have to throw some really crazy, draconian totalitarian measures at me to be like, nah, that's too far.
Right.
I mean, I don't. It would have to be something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, nah, like, oh, we're gonna go to your house and hold you down and like just pump the vaccine into your arm. I mean, that's a bit too far. If you want to make it so these people aren't vaxxed and they can't come out on the street, I'd be like, okay, I'm fine with that. Because I'm tired of walking amongst these people.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. And I mean, the U.S. has a history of forced vaccinations, even really. So I mean, like, it would not even be outside of the precedent of the country to do what you just suggested. Just throwing that out there. I guess that would be against like vaccine cluster bombs or something, like landmines of vaccine. Like that sounds a little bit too far. But I don't know. I'm pretty radical when it comes to get everybody vaccinated, unless of course, like if the vaccine will literally harm you and you shouldn't get it, which is like a very, very tiny minority of people, by the way. you should 100% get the vaccine. Like 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I'm to the point where you shouldn't be allowed. You shouldn't be allowed in communal spaces, stores, restaurants, barbershops, sporting events, anywhere where 3 or more people can gather. I feel like if you're not vaccinated, you shouldn't be allowed anywhere near that. Sorry. Go have your freedom to go die of an infectious disease out in the woods somewhere. Away from civilized society. Like, you can't sit in the lunch table of society and pick your nose and just wipe it all over the table, my man. Like, you can't sit with me.
Yeah. So I guess what else we got? We can just dwell on COVID for forever. Sure. I'm not exactly particularly interested in doing that, but what else is going on? What else you've been Sonic keeping your personal
I don't know. I'm excited to see how Blizzard Activision is falling apart.
All right, so we haven't talked about this at all. Can you sort of set the table for this?
I'll try. It's a long way down. So it's been rumored. There's a video game company. You've heard of them because they're a cultural thing called Blizzard, even if you've never played a video game. They're a parent company of Activision. You've also heard of them, even if you've never played a video game, because Blizzard makes World of Warcraft, Activision makes Call of Duty, and they also own that mobile game company King that makes Candy Crush. So at Activision, there has been a long history of just sexual harassment in the workplace, and the state of California did a 2-year investigation and found this to be true, and so now they're going to have to go to court. The state of California is doing a lawsuit. They hired a PR lady, the lady who worked for the Obama administration, who defended U.S. torture and U.S. black sites. So that always knows, you know you're in good company there. What else is cool with them? So they've had a couple of ceremonial, I want to say performative firings. The guy who's the CEO of Blizzard, Jalen Brack, he quit. He was forced to step down because he's deep in the sexual harassment. And a couple other people are getting rolled. Let's see what else. Oh, but now it's finally hitting Blizzard because a lot of their sponsorships for their professional gaming leagues of like Overwatch, they make a shooter called Overwatch. They've pulled out like T-Mobile and Coca-Cola. But Coca-Cola doesn't have the best track record. They killed union activists.
Worker rights?
I know, right?
Not really.
What's been fun for me is seeing like people online who are like, well, we're gonna have a digital protest inside of World of Warcraft, and I'm like, what are you people talking about? Why don't just delete your account? Delete your account. I'm like, if it's one thing, Amazon, I can understand. Like, Amazon sucks as a company, but if you're like, only place I could find this at Amazon, they do sell like, essential stuff on there, but like, dude, there's a million bad video games out there, like point and click MMOs, like you can play. Like, people are like, well, all my friends are in there. I'm like, then get all your friends off of there. Like, don't be lazy. This is just a video game company, my man. Just delete the app. Never buy anything from them again. Like, I did that the first day. I was like, well, no more. I was like, yeah, Diablo 4 is coming out. I know I'm going to want to play that. I guess I'm not playing that. I'll play Path of Exile. It's fine. I can live without this.
There is a sort of a question. It's not been decided yet by the workers at Activision Blizzard. The people that it would probably affect more than anything, a boycott. But they're going to essentially, at least at some point, weigh in on whether or not they would support such a boycott.
I mean, that's great and all for them, but that doesn't affect me. Like of what I'm just not gonna. Here's the thing. Okay, so here's the I like to talk about like cynical individualism again. Trying to go kind of same thing I talked about with COVID. So here's why I think that company as it currently, they're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to go belly up, but they're going to have to completely like change, and they're going to like everything they do is going to change. Everything. They're not going to be the same company coming out of this.
At least on the surface, it's going to change. It does.
I think it's going to be deeper than that, and here's why. Cynically, you've got a company that like employs sexual harassers. They harass one woman so bad that they like shared pictures of her around the office that she killed herself.
Yeah.
So you've got a company like that, right? Now, Rockstar has the same. If you don't know who Rockstar is, yes, you do, because they're owned by Take-Two Interactive. They make the NBA 2K series and they make Grand Theft Auto. Here's the thing. Rockstar has the same culture around them that people who make Grand Theft Auto, but they actually make good games. Thing about Blizzard is why I think as they currently are won't survive this. You can't have a company full of sex pests, and ironically, the reason why your games are bad is because nobody can get any work done because your company's full of sex pests. You can't have that and make bad games. World of Warcraft has been on the decline for many reasons I won't bore our radio listeners with. Diablo 3 has been a disaster. Overwatch became a microtransaction like scam almost. Not a scam, but just like they cared more about, you know, how much revenue they could suck from the player ongoing than how to make their game better.
Which was always tradition.
Yeah, they re-released a game called Warcraft 3, which the re-release version is worse than the version that came out 20 years ago. That kind of stuff. So this company cannot survive being morally unacceptable to, you know, a lot of people and making a bad product. They could survive one or the other, not both. I mean, I want them gone. If they could just like be gone and go belly up, like Activision's a terrible company. Their parent company's terrible. They're terrible. They're awful. But to be realistic, like if they were just terrible, but they were making bangers, they'd get
away with a lot more. Right?
They'd be fine, yeah. But they're not making bangers. Plus, they're terrible. A lot of people are done with them.
Yeah. That makes sense. And just to kind of give a taste of some of the stuff that was done on there. I have this article up.
Okay.
And this is from like a couple days ago. But new report reveals more of the quote. By the way, calling it frat boy culture like they do. Really
it's an insult to frat boys.
Huh?
It's an insult to frat boys.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like, I'm not trying to like step up and stand for like frat boys or whatever, but like, wow, like you're just essentially like taking like what actually happened and trying to obscure it as much as possible by framing. Before we get to this article, though, you're listening to WHIV LP New Orleans 102.3. This is Good Morning Comrade. So, Blizzard's toxic culture stretches back to its early days, according to report, but the merger with Activision only made things worse. So it references a Bloomberg report that revealed further details about the alleged frat boy culture, quote unquote, including a 2018 incident in which Derek Ingalls, then Blizzard's chief information officer, addressed questions about the departure of chief technology officer Ben Kilgore with a crude joke about having sex with subordinates.
Isn't that cool?
Don't sleep with your assistant, Ingalls reportedly said about Kilgore's sudden departure in 2018. If you're going to sleep with your assistant, don't stop. What? Oh, like marry her or something?
No, that's not what it is. You understand what he's saying?
You're going to sleep with your assistant, don't stop sleeping with her?
Yeah. Do you get that?
Don't break up with her?
He's doing the whole... We're on the radio, so he's doing the whole broads be crazy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. He says like, oh, when you cut this off, then she's gonna lie. She's gonna lie about me. She's gonna run to HR and lie about me because I broke up with her.
Blizzard was suffused with a quote rock star mentality, according to one former employee that was enabled. By the way, another weird like way of obscuring things. Frat boy, rock star.
But ironic because the company Rockstar Games has the same kind of
Right.
Yeah, they think they're living in Grand Theft Auto for real. Like,
according to one former
it's
employee,
weird.
that was enabled by upper management, which hired primarily men and would overlook inappropriate behavior. Quote, these developers were untouchable, they said. Not only would they tell you how to do your job, but they had so much power they could do whatever they want in line of sight with their powerful friends.
And I want to be clear for the people who don't play video games at all. This is one of the companies that's like, if you are in the, think of whatever job you do, right?
Activision's been around literally forever.
Not even Activision, whatever. Mm-hmm. Blizzard, whatever, like your dream, whatever thing you do to pay the bills right now, whatever the dream place it is for you to work at, that's what Blizzard is to these people. So if you're a woman, like you're writing code, maybe you're on the customer relations side, maybe whatever it is, and you get hired at Blizzard, this is a dream come true to you. So you're going to put up with whatever you've got to put up with to be at your dream job. Mm-hmm. And so that's how they get away with this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like the same way, like, I'm a Disney file, but it's the same way that like Disney gets to exploit their labor,
their workers,
because they pay them in smiles and sunshine. That's a part of it. Is like these people in their head, they've dreamed for so long, especially if they have any kind of like position that's not customer service, not like scooping ice cream. They've worked themselves up from that or get hired in somewhere at the corporate side. Oh my God, this is the dream. And nothing can interfere with the dream, and so it takes advantage of people.
Yeah.
Same thing. Jeff, it's teacher. Teacher's the same way. Teacher's absolutely the same way.
I mean, I don't know if it's the same way in the sense that like people view it as a dream job or something like that.
But you don't go through all it takes to be a teacher, to go to like a school and you're like, oh, this place is awful, I quit. Like it takes a lot for people to do that, but it takes a lot for them to do that.
Yeah. A lot of teachers quit, like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I understand what you're saying though. Like people that like you put up with a disproportionate amount of stuff.
Right. They put it on you to be like, well, it's for the kids.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Who's going to teach the kids?
Right. Because you have a very special responsibility to these children.
Mm-hmm.
The success of World of Warcraft was a major contributor to that culture, according to the report. Another former employee related a conversation in which a high-ranking Blizzard official told his staff that they were seen as industry superstars by fans and colleagues alike, and suggested that they should be able to benefit from that adoration sexually. Men also greatly outnumbered women in the company by a ratio of 4-1, according to a 2017 internal report, which only made matters worse. Too many dudes.
It's just so icky. Like, and you look at these guys, they look like exactly how in your mind, if you do a Google search for like J. Allen Brack, he looks exactly how you picture him in your mind. Just like a guy you wouldn't. He just looks like a creep. Mm-hmm. Like a straight up creep. And it's just so. I don't know, man. Go ahead.
Because
I'm trying to watch my language.
Because there were so few women, the women really had to compete to stand out with their peers, another former employee said. It created a really toxic competitive environment, not just between the men and women at Blizzard, but between the women themselves. Which, again, when you're the dudes, when you're in a 4-1 like numbers domination, plus all of upper management's dudes, like you could see the women that are being like, that are essentially being forced into a competitive like relationship with one another, and the dudes are going to be up there being like, "Oh, look at that, like that kind of stuff."
Right. Too. I just don't understand why they have to like look. And I'm again cynical. Being cynical is the name of the game, but I guess absolute power corrupts absolutely. Like, why can't you just They have it. They used to.
They
They used to. They're not going to have it anymore. But they used to have a big convention every year or every couple years. It was like every 2 years called BlizzCon, Blizzard Convention, whatever. People paid all kinds of money to come out to California and like see what the new thing is. Like, oh, we got the new game coming out. We're going to do a question and answer. Like, and these guys are rock stars. Like, World of Warcraft is like a cultural thing. I don't understand why you just can't be a normal human being and just be like, be at the BlizzCon thing and just be like, yeah, I made the World of Warcraft. Cool. You want to get a drink? Like why? And women would have been like, yeah, awesome. Like, I'm a night elf Mohawk. Like, I'd love that game. I would love to get a cocktail with you. Instead of like being a creeper. Like, the stuff they would do at work is they would come in drunk. They said that like, and they would do crawls to like around the women's cubicles and like molest them, like grab on them while they're trying to work, drunk at work. They had something called like the Cosby Suite.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
They would bring women to like, and from the office, like during BlizzCon, like during the convention, the hotel they were staying at, and like, everybody, they're like, the women who work there, like, they're like, I don't want to go up there, but I also don't want to like lose my job or not get promoted because I didn't let like Jal and Breck like have sex with me or whatever. It's disgusting, man. Like, why can't you just be normal? Just be a normal human being. Like, y'all could.
Many people are saying that about many things. To many people.
Be a normal human being and like pick up women like the normal way. I don't understand.
Mm-hmm. Rather than serving as the adult in the room, Activision, which merged with Blizzard in 2008, only made things worse. Current and former employees said Activision's oversight came through deadlines and reduced resources, resulting in increased workloads and stress, crunch, and exhaustion, anxiety, depression, and more. So, like, you have this dynamic of, like, sexual abuse and, manipulation from the top, plus, like, just heavily increased workforce is just, like, absolutely destroying the workers. Like, absolutely destroying them. At the same time... Mm-hmm.
No, you're good. Go ahead. I'm just disgusted.
Yeah, at the same time, Blizzard's reputation as a can't-miss studio fell by the wayside through gaffes, layoffs, esports missteps, and unexpectedly disappointing game releases. The highly anticipated Warcraft 3 Reforged was a major letdown at launch because of, quote, mismanagement and cost cuts. And World of Warcraft has stumbled badly as well, which, to your point from earlier. Despite the outrage over its deeply rooted toxicity, Activision Blizzard's share price has begun to bounce back following financial results for the second quarter of 2021. Hey, at least they're making money, right?
Yeah, exactly. They've made the most profit they've ever made because of the way they fleece and psychologically manipulate their players. Let's see. I'm just looking at their stock is right now.
That's really good. But it's still under significant pressure on top of the discrimination and sexual assault lawsuit filed against a company by California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing in July. Shareholders have filed a class action suit accusing Blizzard of covering up the investigation that led to it, while employees have continued to push back forcefully against the promises of reform from CEO Bobby Kotick. That's the guy that retired or that quit, right?
No. Jalen Brack. Bobby Kotick is this. Okay, Jalen Brack was the CEO of Blizzard. Bobby Kotick is the CEO of the parent company Activision. He is the main one. If you want to, if you actually do care about this, there's a great YouTube. If you want to know about the inner workings of how to manipulate and fleece your customers, it's a great video on a YouTube channel called Company Man, and he does why everybody hates Activision, and it's stuff like, okay, to give you an example of why Jalen Brack is one of the people that's quoted as saying, because they make Call of Duty, if we could charge the players for individual rounds of ammunition in that game, we would. We're trying to figure out a way to do it. So their whole thing is we want to sell you a product. Video games cost $60. We want to sell you a product for $60 and then continuously like manipulate and fleece you out of money to competitively play the game.
Talked about it all the time, right?
Yeah. They have literal casino slot machine systems in the game to make people addicted to try to get advantage over in competitive games over other players. And you can't even buy these things outright for a couple bucks. You have to go through their casino system, their slot machine system.
It's like buying cards like from a like baseball cards or something.
Yeah, it is. Except you actually get cardboard pieces of paper when you buy cards. When you buy a Call of Duty pack, whatever battle pass, you don't get anything tangible for that.
Mm-hmm.
When you buy a mount, so you can ride a dragon in World of Warcraft, something that when the game was when I was a lad back in the day, that's something you had to earn. Now you can just straight up buy. You're just creating a situation to psychologically manipulate the player. And even if you say, well, you can still get that stuff for free, or not for free, you can get whatever it is by playing the game. Not so fast. The game is tuned to aggravate you so much to push you into that purchase, to make you give up on everything. Is tuned to push you in that direction.
You have to pay $60 for the experience.
Absolutely. The game's not free to start with, which I'm all for a free to play game that's going to let me ask me to buy stuff. I will. I feel no problem with that. But yeah, $60 to get in the door. It's pay to pay, not pay to play. Yeah, it's literally the same systems they use at casinos and slot machines to make people addicted. It hits the same endorphins and serotonin like receptors.
Video games are now like you're buying a store.
They're actually really dangerous. Like the stuff my parents were like, oh, don't play so many video games. I don't like you playing that Nintendo all the time. The stuff that what they were saying was right, but they didn't understand how bad it would get. Like nobody really could. That they would just turn these games into kiddie casinos. Like I really worry about my little brother. Like my mom does it. She does it right. She has a Switch and does not let him connect to the internet. And like I remember Activision, he got really into like I think he had a PlayStation 2. He got really into Skylanders. And my mom's like, oh, he's in the sky. I was like, Mom, I don't want to sound like old man. Like, take my word on this. It's like, I know you're not big on video games. I was like, you got to stop that Skylanders thing right now. Nip it in the bud. Because that is a kids casino. It's bad.
There you go.
That's Activision.
Yeah.
They were the little, if for people didn't know, there were little toys to life things. You might have read like Nintendo still does them. They're called like amiibos. But so the whole idea is like, okay, in the Skylanders game, you got to play as Spyro, the dragon to start with, right? So you be playing, and then all of a sudden there's a door that you can't cross because it's made out of water. So you have to buy the little $20 toy to scan it into the game so you can play as the water guy to go through there. That's just
like at least with amiibos, they don't
terrible
play from continuing.
Yeah.
Like play
literally hinders your progress.
Yeah. Or we're gonna have to leave it there.
Yeah.
That's gonna have to be it for this show. Thanks so much for listening to Good Morning Comrade, everybody. You are listening to WHIV LP New Orleans 102.3. I love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, and we're gonna go ahead and raid. Let's see who's even on.
Oh, we got people on there. Nice. I didn't look at Twitch.
Let's see. Let's go ahead and raid Liv Agar. All right, everybody. Y'all have a great
Bye.
night.
I'm sleepy. Thanks for putting up with me.
Yeah. All right, later, bud.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.